This is a recap for the ES Runner and Euro Runner trading systems for June the 26th, 2012. Starting from 3 a.m. when the European cash market opens, we take profit. We stay out of the first 15 minutes of the market, so taking 3:15 on. First trade here was a scalp. 3:40 in the morning, taken here on the S, exited the first cautionary, actually exited here before news at 4:30 in the morning on the 26th. We exit one candle before at the open of the one candle, 4:25. 0 ticks from open to open. We use open open because you can get a tick better or tick worse from the open on the entry and a tick better or tick worse than the open on the exit. So to keep things even and consistent, it's open to open. You must exit your scalps and sprints fast. You must enter and exit them both fast. And if you do that, they're very profitable trades. This morning before news, it was closed at 4:25 opens candle. Next here, this candle was not taken as a short. There was a 5 o'clock in the morning release on the 26th. You don't take trades within 15 minutes of having to exit a trade. If you exit a trade one candle before, which would be 4:25, you don't take a trade any later than 4:10. Actually, I'm sorry, in this case, 5 o'clock was the news release. You exit one candle before the news release at 4:55. Therefore, you don't take an entry any earlier than 15 minutes prior to that exit point. So that would be 4:40 would be the latest time that is you take an entry. This is just to be safe because of market. You have to have time to make profit on a trade, and these rules work very well around news events. Going forward here at 6 o'clock in the morning, this was a trade that was not taken due to, I believe, on 6 o'clock in the morning. Let me check Forex Factory here. 6 a.m. Oh, that's right. 5 a.m. there was the inflation report hearings. After 5 a.m., that was a news release I'm thinking of. Excuse me. 5 a.m. This is a hearing from the pound, the British government. You don't want to take trades during an inflation report hearing on the pound. It affects the euro. The pound has a big influence on the U.S. dollar. It affects the euro consequently, and affects the ES market. It's a big impact event, and during that testimony from the Brits in their parliament, you don't want to take trades during that testimony. Okay, so during FOMC testimony, for example, during ECB, discussions and testimony, you don't trade during that time. So after 5 a.m., there's no trades taken until that testimony is done, which typically lacks about 2 to 3 hours. Usually lasts about 2 to 3 hours. Okay, so no trades were taken. For traders, you've got to keep your handle. You've got to keep looking at the news reports, and you've got to know what news reports. There's rules about news releases and things such as committees and testimonies. Don't trade throughout the entire thing. So 0 ticks were netted in the pre-market. Going into the regular trading session, we switched to a 2-minute system. It's got to calculate a lot of bars. Go back to the 26th. At 26, we don't take trades between 9:15 and 9:45, 15 minutes prior to the market's open, 15 minutes after the market's open. Here, the first trade at 10:20 is a short. It makes its first profit target of 8 ticks right here. The runners brought to break even get stopped out here. This scalp was not valid to take because this was a news release related to Merkel deciding to basically, she said some very negative things related to Greece and shot the market down. And when this happened, I told everybody, let's stay 30 minutes outside of her saying something. Is a buffer zone to be safe. Stay outside of it 30 minutes. So no one took this scalp. The market shot down, shot back up, shot back down a little bit, then shot up. It's just far too dangerous. So we stayed out of this trade for 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, things get much better. As you can see, the candles get much more. The behavior in the candles is more consistent, not erratic, not all over the place as these candles were. First long here was a cautionary trade which printed a chase price. Second price is called a chase. Cautionary is the C, second price is a chase. Whenever chase price is is created. You want to look back and see if the move is 5 points or more from the recent swing. These are rules that go over the cautionary trade. I won't go through them right now. They're very easy to follow for those that are good traders, or easy rules to follow. About 2 rules for cautionary trade when a chase price is printed. For those that are novice traders, just don't take don't take cautionary trades. Otherwise, many traders trade on this type of a setup and make very good money with it. Please come in the room for a free trial to see the system in action and its profitability, and I'll explain these rules for the chase on a cautionary trade to those in the room. So this trade wasn't taken by the room. This is your first valid scalp. This was taken and makes 8 ticks of profit. These scalps here are what are called inter-series scalps. They're not to be taken unless you bank profit on your initial contract. Actually, this scalp was taken because people banked profit on their first scalp here. So this scalp actually, I need to include this because that scalp actually was taken. I do recall it a couple of days ago. This was a valid scalp to take, a valid inter-series scalp. The rules for inter-series scalps: 3 dots between the S and the new S, or a pullback of 2 points between the 2 and the 3. These are simple rules. Again, only 1 or 2 rules to follow, and they're explained in the room to everybody. So for those that come into the room, I'll be happy to explain it to everybody. So we look for 8 ticks of profit. I don't think this trade made 8 ticks. It got close. It was 7. We exit the first cautionary triangle, which was right here. So actually this is a break-even trade. It's a break-even trade, so it's not going to add any more profit or loss to the system. Going forward here, we had a trade at 1:30 p.m. This trade was a trade related to, if I remember correctly, 2 days ago. This is when Germany was downgraded. This was a German downgrade, if I remember correctly. This was a very big impact thing. People didn't take a trade on this. I can't be precise, but I'm pretty sure it was a German downgrade that took place here. And therefore, because of a news event like that, nobody took this trade. It was one big candle out of nowhere, so we all took a look to see why one big candle came out of nowhere, and Germany was downgraded 2 days ago at this time of the day. Going forward here, we have a long. It doesn't print an R because it's inside of the yellow. A lot of traders took this trade when it went outside of the yellow. The yellow is a very powerful set of algorithms and a mysterious line that works extremely well on creating resistance, or what are called bounces. As you can see, there's a bounce here, there's a bounce there. By the way, there's a new trade technique that the traders are starting to use in the room that I'm about to embrace as a valid trade to take. It's called the bounce. Has a very high success rate, probably has success about 75-80% of the time. And these are examples of what bounces look like. They're small little bounces. You're looking to make 4 to 6 ticks with no more than 4 ticks of loss, and they happen all throughout the day. The last 3 days, they've averaged 4 to 6 points extra profit per session. So there are a lot of extra profit, but there are rules for them which I can discuss with you in the room when you come in for a trial membership. Otherwise, a lot of traders did get into this trade right here, and they got in after the trade went past the yellow again and closed here. Many traders got in here and they made 2 points, but I'm not going to count this trade because it's not yet an endorsed rule. But it was a profitable trade for many people in the room. This was a valid scalp. It lost 8 ticks. This was a valid entry here. Exit at the cautionary opposite direction triangle when, again, the flat line is always, when the smart line is flat for 5 periods, an opposite direction triangle appears, and that signs to exit. -2 ticks on 2 contracts. So the regular trading session here was 8 ticks of profit, 1.5 points. This was a very choppy Tuesday and Wednesday. Very choppy days on the Euro and the ES because of the build up to the EU summit today. These are difficult days to make profit. Both systems, this system, excuse me, the ES runner made good profit. If you look at the 6 ticks here, plus the pre-market, the pre-market was 0 actually. So on a choppy day, we made 6 ticks. But I had many traders call me in the room on Tuesday, 2 days ago, telling me how horrible the day was. They lost 7, 8, 10 points. We made 6 ticks. And for traders that got in this trade here, they actually made 2 points there. So for a number of traders, they made 3 points, 3.5 to 4 points, because some of them took these bounces as well. And they made good money on overall these two techniques, which aren't yet endorsed fully trade types, but they will be in the next few days. I've had enough time defining the rules and clarifying the high success rate, and the traders already starting to take these trades in the room and doing very well with them. Now for the euro. The euro had a difficult day on Tuesday. Absolutely had a difficult day. I need to get this out of the way and get this for the euro. The euro from 2 a.m. to 7 a.m. lost 50 pips on Tuesday. Entry here lost 24 pips from entry to stop loss line exit times 2. Times 2 because you've got a first and a second position. First would be your partial profit, your second position would be your runner, so times 2 positions. This trade here, entry here, exit at the smart line going flat for 5 periods, and you exit here if it's smart, if it's flat here with no compensating factor on the SSI. What would be a compensating factor? An arrow pointing up. An arrow pointing up during the 5 periods right here, which there's not. Okay? This arrow prints at the end of the bar during the 5 periods when this cautionary triangle came in right here, the opposite direction triangle. This arrow down here not printed yet because it prints at the end of the bar. This contrary directional triangle prints at the beginning of the bar. So at the beginning of this bar, at 5 periods, people are told to immediately exit their trade unless they have arrows within this period. This is a new rule we're using in the room now because it further defines the entry and keeps good trades in. These SSI arrows help us significantly by analyzing tick by tick volume. Going forward here, we don't have a short because there's a news event at 5 o'clock in the morning again. There was no trades taken from 5 a.m. through. This trade here as a scalp or as a sprint, this was a 2-hour testimony. So some traders took this trade on a sprint because it was after the 2 hours from the British testimony. This was 20 pips of profit here. So negative 50 pips in the first 5 hours from 2 a.m. to 7 a.m. And then from 7 a.m. through 12 p.m. the cutoff for the euro was 20 pips of profit. Thanks very much, and the rest of the week, Wednesday and Thursday, for both systems had a lot of profit. So stay tuned for tomorrow's video on the 27th of June. Thanks very much. Look forward to seeing you in the room.